All right, let's just jump right in. I'm going to start with a pretty bold claim. Microsoft Excel is, hands down, the most successful piece of software ever written. Seriously, it's a 40-year-old dinosaur that has somehow managed to survive every single major shift in tech history, and today we're going to figure out exactly why. To really get your head around its sheer dominance, just look at this number. Excel is installed on nearly 1 billion computers around the world. I mean, think about that for a second. It's not just another program, it's a permanent fixture of our digital world. And that really gets to the heart of the question for this explainer. In an industry that is obsessed with moving fast and breaking things, how has this old school green icon not only stuck around, but actually crushed it for 4 decades? Well, the answer is this fascinating mix of brilliant engineering, human psychology, and maybe a little bit of accidental genius. So let's start with the first big reason: Excel as the unsung software hero. Its real power, its secret sauce, starts with its most basic feature, that simple blank grid of cells. It's just such an intuitive way to organize things, kind of like the paper ledgers we've used for hundreds of years, but on a totally infinite digital canvas. And that simple grid lets Excel wear a ton of different hats. For millions of people, it's the world's most popular accidental database. It's become the universal language of business. You can send an XLSX file to anyone, anywhere, and they'll get it. And of course, it's the ultimate Swiss Army knife of software. It might not be the absolute best tool for any one specific job, but it's always good enough for pretty much anything you throw at it. But here's the thing, just being flexible isn't enough to dominate for 40 years. And that brings us to our second point, a legacy of speed. See, back in the early days, Excel had this secret weapon, a core engineering advantage that just left all its competitors in the dust. And it all came down to one incredibly smart idea. And you can see the difference right here. Back in the 80s, rival programs like Lotus 123 were, well, they were a pain. You'd change one single number, and the entire spreadsheet would have to grind through a recalculation, cell by agonizing cell. It was so slow. But Excel's engineers flipped the script. They made it so Excel only recalculated the specific cells that were affected by your change. The result? It was fast. It was snappy. It felt like absolute magic. And this whole idea, it has a name: intelligent recalculation. By basically creating a map of which cells depended on which other cells, Excel knew exactly what needed to be updated and what it could ignore. This was the key technical trick that gave it that initial and honestly a lasting advantage. And that obsession with performance, it's still in Excel's DNA today. Modern Excel is smart enough to use multi-threaded recalculation, which means it splits up the work across all the cores in your computer's processor. That's why it can chew through a data set with 1 million rows with a kind of speed that a lot of those fancy web-based tools still can't touch. Now, that speed was the foundation. But what people built on top of it led to our third pillar, the accidental programming revolution. See, the real magic kicked in when people realized they could use this fast grid to build their own complex tools, basically turning Excel into the world's first and biggest low-code platform without even knowing it. I love this quote because it just perfectly captures how massive this thing became. Excel basically invented this huge world of what we now call shadow IT. You don't need a computer science degree to build a system to track inventory or manage a department budget. You just need to know how to write a few formulas. And that is the incredible power of it. It lets the person who actually understands the problem, the manager, the analyst, the accountant, build and deploy their own solution right now. You don't have to wait 6 months for the official IT department to get to it. It's the ultimate bridge between a normal user and a full-on developer. Okay, so when you have that many people building their own critical tools in one program, something else happens. You get our fourth pillar, trust and network effects. This is what builds Excel's unbreakable ecosystem. In the business world, reliable always beats flashy. And one of Excel's greatest superpowers is its insane commitment to backward compatibility. You can take a super complex file from 20 years ago, and it'll almost certainly open and work just fine today. That creates a level of trust that no new startup can just build overnight. And that trust just fuels this unstoppable network effect. It's taught in every business school. It's a required skill on pretty much any office job resume. It's the default way we all share data. There's a huge online community, influencers, and yeah, you heard that right. There are even professional esports world championships for Excel. I mean, once a tool is that woven into the fabric of global culture, it's pretty much impossible to get rid of. But don't mistake all this history for, being old and dusty. And that brings us to our final section, the modern data powerhouse. Because in recent years, Microsoft has really pushed Excel to evolve from that simple grid into a seriously powerful tool for data analysis. And the evolution is it's huge. Think about it like this. Classic Excel was for your budgets and your to-do lists. Modern Excel, it's for serious data modeling. You've got tools like Power Query that can automatically clean up messy data, a task that used to be a total nightmare. And now, with Python actually integrated into the program, you can run incredibly sophisticated analysis right there in your spreadsheet. So when you boil it all down, Excel's success, it isn't just about the VLOOKUPs or the pivot tables. It's about something way more human than that. Excel has survived and thrived because it adapts to how we want to work, instead of forcing us to adapt to it. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. We live in this world that has a hyper-specialized app for every little thing you could possibly want to do. But can any of them really replace the raw, creative, problem-solving power of a simple blank grid?